Today's AskReddit post. What have you seen inside someone's home that made you view them differently? Oh boy, this is gonna be a good one. Let's get started. A carpeted bathroom that also contains a gun safe, wine glasses, a wine fridge, board games and snacks. It's a safe room. If you're going to lock yourself in a safe room, do you want to lock yourself into a safe room with a #10 can as a toilet? Or do you want to lock yourself into a safe room with a functioning toilet and running water? Likewise, if you're going to build a safe room with access to your toilet, are you just going to stop using that toilet? Carpet around the toilet is gross no matter what. No one shampoos that poop on the regular. They didn't own soap. Like, no soap at all anywhere in their house. We know a family who is very wealthy. One of them is a medical professional, and they have no soap in any bathroom. I have to remember to bring hand sanitizer in my pocket every time we visit. It's bizarre. It seems to always be the people in the medical field that have the dirtiest homes. I delivered furniture when I was in high school, and the doctors' houses were some of the worst I've been in. One family I went to visit had a room in their house that was set up for a college kid. Posters, TV, some weights, computer desk, even a half-empty cologne bottle on the desk. I asked them what college their son went to, and they immediately changed the subject and the mom looked down and away. They said the room is rented out. I later found out their son could not get into the college he wanted and decided to commit suicide. They left his room exactly as it last was. I still think about them. Child porn. Way back in the before times, I worked as an installation and repair tech for a major telecom. Installing DSL was one of the things I did, and while testing the connection to one guy's PC, I stumbled across some very disturbing images. His line was working fine, so I just smiled, told him there was no charge, and left. Called the police first, and then my boss, to let him know I might be busy giving a statement for the rest of the day. Dude got severely busted. Woman I nannied for had a very messy house, but she always looked so put together in public. She had 6 kids, and always said don't judge me. Our house is lived in. Made me realize it was okay not to ruin your life over a perfect image house as long as everyone and everything was functioning. I have 3 young kids and my husband, and I work opposite shifts. The only time we have to really clean is the weekend. Through the week our house looks like a tornado. Clean underneath the clutter but definitely chaotic. Then every Saturday morning we reset the house to start again. We have activities most nights after school and it's so hard to stay on top of things by myself weekdays. Messy is different from filthy. I better appreciated that a friend of mine was badly depressed when I saw how messy his home was. I wanted to let him know if he needed anything I'd do my best to help. But I don't wanna just say, hey sad ass, lem help. As someone severely struggling, if my friend/sibling burst through my door and said poop up bitch I'm helping you, I would burst into tears from the overwhelming love I would feel. This is an actual fantasy I play through my head *OFTEN*. Someone who loves me enough to force some profess on me. Really the entire concept of a love so strong that someone would just burst in with no desire but to help is actively making me sob right now. What I wouldn't give for that. A sandbox in the middle of the living room. There were Tonka trucks and toys and cigarette butts in it. Then came the cat. Ugh. First sentence and a half. That's kinda dope. Rest of it, these people are on dope. Their Labrador in a crate so small it could only turn around with great difficulty. The crate was anchored to the wall, because otherwise the dog would thrash around in the crate until it shook and moved across the floor. I asked if the dog had done something wrong to be put in timeout in the crate, like chewing up some shoes. My ex-friend said no. That's just where the dog lived for the most part. It got out every so often to eat or toilet in the yard, but all other times of day and night it was crated. Their reasoning was that when they let it out the crate, it was too hyper and destructive. Probably cause it spent its whole life stuck in a tiny ducking box. I argued with the friend and left the house on bad terms. I did phone an animal rights hotline, but was told there wasn't anything they could do. Since the dog was technically provided food, shelter, and decently hygienic conditions, it wasn't illegal to crate them near constantly, even though the org agreed it was neglectful/abusive. I'm a CSI. I went to a residential burglary when I used to work at an agency in North Carolina. The home owners were in their 70s. Their house was your typical grandparents' place with lace toiles everywhere, flowers, and photos all over the walls of the entire extended family. A table near his chair with hunting and fishing magazines. A table near her chair with knitting needles and yarn. The whole 9 yards you'd expect to see at Grandma and Grandpa's house. As the lady was showing me around with the officer to tell me what was stolen or moved, I came to a slightly ajar door next to the master bedroom suite. I asked her if anything had been moved in there. She said she wasn't sure, since she had called the police the moment they had gotten home from church and realized their house had been broken into. I elbowed open the door. Full on intercourse dungeon room. We are talking intercourse swing. Hooks on the ceilings with ropes. Restraints on boards, nailed to the wall. Cuffs. Paddles. Floggers. Strap-on harnesses on hooks. Ball gags of various sizes. Video camera on a tripod. You name it. She looked around, put her hand on her chest, and with what seemed a sigh of relief said, "No. Thank you, Lord. It looks like nothing was touched in here. I will never look at an old woman in a Peter Pan collar and flower patterned dress the same now." Was watching their pups, and was told extra blankets were in the bottom drawer. So was the make-at-home penis/dildo mold kit. So did you make one? That's why I like Reddit. People out here asking the real questions. Her toddler chewing on a used douche applicator. Alright, that's enough Reddit for me tonight. If I had not known my neighbor when I was growing up was a WW2 vet and the coat was a war trophy, it would have been the SS officer's jacket he had in his closet. Fresh and never worn, he pulled it off a wagon somewhere in France. Without the context it would have been a massive red flag. Instead, him and his wife were a sweet couple that were always happy to tell my brother and I stories from the war. He served in Europe. She served in the Pentagon writing letters to fallen soldiers' families. I miss them still 20+ years after they passed on. I inherited, I guess, a German WW2 hat that was my grandfather's. It's like a safari hat kind of with a couple pins on it. Nothing fancy. I know he fought in the war, American. But he never talked about it, so I have no idea how he came to have the hat. It was in a hat box in the basement. My uncle found it while cleaning. Lots and lots of stuff. I've met a few people who are hoarders. They didn't strike me as hoarders, and then I saw their house. I rented a room from my best friend when he purchased a house with his GF, and the first time I ever saw his GF's living arrangement was when we helped her move in. She was always a little unkempt, but nothing could prepare me for the level of animal hoarding I saw at her parents' house. I won't get into too much details, but there were at least 15 cats and 5 dogs, and it felt like they kept buying more litter boxes instead of cleaning the ones they had. She had said that she wanted to get away from that lifestyle, and I stupidly believed her. For a while it wasn't terrible, but my friend did something wrong that gave her the upper hand in the relationship, and next thing we knew there were 6 cats and 4 dogs in the house. I hate that I still have to stay in that place a couple days a week until I can find a new job near my new place. Went over to have a post-work smoke sesh. Dude's wife was strung out. Toddler just hanging out, and infant in a playpen both unsupervised. Dog free roaming. Cigarette butts put out everywhere, and just piles of dog poop all over the house. I dipped immediately instead of smoking. Told him exactly why, because his house was disgusting, and I didn't feel comfortable getting stoned in front of children. Then I reported him to CPS, and called my boss to let him know that if Coworker didn't show up it's because I called CPS on him. My boss was pretty chill about it. Homeboy lost his job because of the charges he picked up. They found meth, coke, weed, popped him for distro, possession, illegal firearm possession, child endangerment, child neglect, and abuse of a minor. Apparently the kids were severely malnourished, and misuse of welfare, WIC benefits. Oof, this is sad. Good on you for reporting that. Hundreds and hundreds of nutcracker dolls. Every square inch of space had one. Edit, and not just at Christmas. This was in the middle of summer. Oh poop, did you come to my childhood home during Christmas? My mom would decorate the poop out of the house and there were like 50 nutcrackers ranging from tiny to like 4 feet tall. Oh no, now I feel like a freak. My grandsons love nutcrackers, so I put them out at Christmas for them. I may need to reevaluate my life. I had a roommate once that went away for a bit, and while he was gone we went in the basement for something, and discovered that he and his best friend were making paper mache molds of each other's bodies, like dozens of them. Full body casts all over the basement. It was very unsettling. Why? It ain't gay if the other body is a fake. A 10-inch dildo suction cup to the shower wall. You stop to measure it? My husband's aunt is white and is married to a black man. When you enter their house, there is an entire wall with a painted velvet canvas of a beautiful black woman in her full glory. Boobs, pubic hair and all. When you sat in the living room, well, she was there. When you sat in the living room, well, she was there. The painting. Or the black woman *FROM the painting. No soap by the bathroom sink. None. The first time my now GF came over she complained there was no soap, and I said there was, and she said no, there's only shower soap, no sink soap, and I said WTF are you talking about? She'd never seen a bar of soap outside the shower. Only liquid soap dispensers. Showing her age. Bar soap next to the sink was everywhere in the 80s. Houses built in the 80s even had a little bar soap holder built into the bathroom next to the sink. Was dating a girl for a couple of weeks and went to hang out with a couple she was close friends with. We are at their house, hanging out and having a pretty good time. They seemed pretty cool. The guy starts talking about the iguanas they have and asked if I wanted to see them. They had a separate room for them. We go in there, see the big cages with lizards. They were very impressive. And the big ducking Ku Klux Klan posters on the wall next to them. I made an excuse to leave their home soon after. My girlfriend asked what was wrong, and I explained what I saw. She knew and didn't think it was any big deal. It ended that relationship as well. Was afraid this was gonna be more animal abuse, and then the ducking curveball hit. Lizards are well known to be racist. I totally saw it coming. Was cat sitting for my friends while they were out of the country. I walked into their kitchen, and one of them had written, "Don't bully me, I'll come with the fridge alphabet magnets." I knew they were funny, but I didn't know they were that funny. I love the bumper sticker that says "Don't honk, I'll come." Same vibes LMAO. When my wife used to work for a small company we would occasionally be voluntold to attend company get-togethers. One of them was at his house, a BBQ. Not that strange, right? Well, what was strange was the 5-foot wide professionally painted picture of his wife, completely naked, on a beach in the living room. What kind of weirdos have a beach in their living room? Super popular, rich kid in high school, drove a BMW, had a huge house and both of his parents were doctors. Went to a party at his house one night and was absolutely horrified by the filth they lived in. There was dog poop and piss absolutely everywhere in the house and little chihuahuas running around. Then there were even more dogs stacked on top of each other in crates in the garage. I was so stunned and disgusted I couldn't even have fun and was just horrified for the animals and him because he obviously thought this was all normal. And because he was cool people weren't saying anything. All I could think was holy poop, if this is what his house looks like when he knows people are coming over. What the duck does it normally look like? Exclamation mark. Question mark. I still feel terrible for those dogs and wish I had told an adult who could have helped them. Went to a party. Harlop, so multiple people were there who didn't live there? Was it their first time too? Did things change for him at school afterwards? I was once a bartender in an affluent area. I would occasionally get invited to after parties with the regulars. More than once I saw a large home barely furnished, as in multiple rooms were completely empty and they just lived in maybe 2 rooms of the house. It appears that these people would buy and even rent the homes to put on the look. They don't live there. Those are the orgy houses. hoarding, and terrible food hygiene. Edit. Different people, but I wish I used this as my original response. Wall to wall carpeting. I'm the kitchen. In the kitchen. I'm the one who cooks. He's an burger! Exclamation mark. A dude I had a crush on didn't put sheets on his bed. It was so gross and weird. His mattress was all dirty, and I couldn't imagine how it would ever get clean. I couldn't get past it, and it didn't work out lol. You'd think he would at least put sheets on when ya came over. Went over to my mother-in-law's home care nurse's 50th birthday. She invited the whole family over, among others. There were lots of folks. Had to use the bathroom. She had left anal beads out beside her bed. I was like, damn girl, you're saucy. Neighbor has at least a dozen extremely high quality hand painted portraits of President Obama as an African king, high rolling gangster, Jesus, walking hand in hand with MLK, playing basketball on the streets, smoking weed by a burning trash can, and other cray ones. It's been a few years since I saw them, but wow, dude worships Obama, and I had no idea. He never speaks a word of politics. He invited me over for dinner and told me all about the artist and how proud he was to have custom pieces by him. He never mentioned anything political. He just spoke about Obama like he was a sports or religious icon. That's a new one. Dildo shelf. Ye old dilly shelf. I always wondered why I wasn't supposed to go upstairs at my nan and granddad's. My friends moved into an apartment in the complex about 6 months after me. They weren't very organized, but for the 2 years they lived there they had an Amazon box with a yellow hand towel over it and a 6-plug power strip inside. It was on the floor behind their table and I nearly tripped on it multiple times. But it was never moved. They, 2 brothers, eventually bought a house, and when I visited, that box was sitting in their living room. I doubt they noticed and just thought it was a box to clean later, but I bet it is still there. 7 years since I visited them last. What makes it weird is the older brother is a massive germaphobe, but they live in what I can only describe as the enclave of the man-child. It was a load-bearing box. Pack of chicken breasts in the fridge. Except it was fully open, and he leaves it there like that, and just takes one when he needs to. But raw chicken open in the fridge made me question some things. My roommate does this, and he doesn't use them right away. Last time he had it there over a week, and it turned yellow, and made the whole house smell. I asked him to do something about it, and he just threw it in the garbage without taking the garbage out. Straight to jail. Their kids didn't have top sheets, and their mattresses were grey. The rest of the house was a disaster as well. But to give someone a tour of your home when it looks like a pigsty? That's a no from me. Dog. Wait. You mean a fitted sheet? Not having a top sheet isn't that weird. They're saying the kids' mattresses were grey because they only had blankets, no sheets. My in-laws' place. It's not one thing I saw. It was the whole ducking place. Hoarding like crazy. I wanted to impress them the first time I met them because I was looking to marry my now partner. I was planning a salmon meal with a couple different courses leading to it. I ended up spending 4 hours cleaning, and then I could finally prep a meal. It was horrid. And that smell isn't something I won't forget. They seemed nossa blind to it. I've never set foot on that property again and never will. Why didn't your partner warn you? I worked on the outside of a house one time. Working around a window and I could see 2 dead hummingbirds sitting in the windowsill inside. Not taxidermy. Just laying there dead. Horrible. How does that even happen? Hummingbirds are not inside animals or even easy to catch compared to other birds. Rotten food on the counter and trash literally everywhere. I had to hold back gags when we went inside. And he has the balls to judge us on our drinking. MF living in a straight up garbage can. Stayed the night at this girl's house and got up early to make some breakfast. I'm riffling though the cabinets looking for salt and pepper to add to my eggs. Come to find out this lady has no spices in her house. None. Not even salt. Like what? Exclamation mark. I drove nearly 5 hours to meet a guy that I had been talking to online for months. I get to his place, and in the bathroom is an unflushed toilet with a hash to that has very clearly been soaking in there for a while. Note out of there so fast. Bro, you actually watched the whole video. I'd give you a high five if I was a human. Make sure to click the like button and subscribe for more great content. See you next time.